But it is a pleasure to meet you virtually. In this question, the prompt is asking me to discuss how I would handle a very difficult situation, or I believe a very difficult situation, in my opinion, where I've been told that I do not have the best bedside manner by this patient and the patient's family, and they're requesting a different physician, and what I would do in this situation. And in my answer, I want to discuss with you the several different factors that I want to take into consideration before making any decision. But then I want to move on to talk about what I would actually do in this situation, and if time permits, I want to end off with a quick anecdote that actually has happened to me that I believe relates to the situation. So to start off by talking about the different factors that I would want to take into consideration, the main one being is what did I do wrong, or what is the thing that resulted, or the things that resulted in me not having good bedside manner, because it obviously has reached to a point where the patient's family no longer felt comfortable with me providing them care for the patient or for their loved one. And so, was it something was major where I perhaps mistreated that patient, did not take some things in consideration, misdiagnosed, or something big or major that then I would need to take further steps, contacting the supervisor or my school or whatever program that I'm in? So, taking precautions in that way, or is it something minor where they did just not believe that it was a good cultural fit between me as the physician and them as the patients? Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, sorry, let me recall that. We live in the real world where people or being patients themselves is that they put themselves in vulnerable positions and they want to be with someone that they feel comfortable with. And if they do not believe that they're able to connect with that physician, where they do not believe that they can trust this person with their problems, they won't be able to get the best care possible. And so I totally respect that they would want to get someone else or request a different physician who may be able to better cater to their culture or their ways of healing. And so looking into what exactly went wrong would be a big factor that I want to take into consideration. But again, mistakes do happen. And so that is another thing that I want to know is how can I improve? Is it reading more about different cultural ways and perhaps getting more familiar with the different cultures that we have here in Canada and how to interact with these patients? Or is it something that I need to work upon in terms of my knowledge or my medical knowledge and learning how to better diagnose or better treat certain treatments or illnesses? So these are just different factors that I want to take into consideration. But moving on to talking about what I would actually do in this situation, the first one being is telling the patient's family and the patient themselves that I understand that that they want a different physician, and I will do my best to find someone else who's willing to take on this case, and ask them if there's a specific um, characteristics, I guess, that they're looking for in a physician. Are they looking for someone who is of a similar background or of a similar culture? Are they looking for someone who better suit their needs, and try my best to find them a good fit for their case. That would be my biggest priority is the patient's comfort, because at the end of the day, we're here to treat them. But the next point that I want, or then the follow up that I would also want to do, is sit down with my preceptor or the physician that I'm learning from and ask them where I went wrong. Because, like I mentioned earlier, learning how to be a physician, I'm bound to make some mistakes and I'm bound to not do things perfectly when I first start. But sitting down and learning from these mistakes is an essential first step. And so, to quickly talk about an anecdote that I believe relates to the situation, I recently went to my family physician for a quick checkup about a small problem that I was facing. And that physician mentioned to me that they have a student, uh, a medical or a student physician with them who would want to participate and take the history themselves. And at first I was a bit hesitant, but then I remembered that they don't get these learning opportunities so much, and it would be great for me to provide them that opportunity. And then after they went through the history and they went through what they believe is the correct diagnosis, I provided them with some feedback about where I believe I felt a bit uncomfortable in this interaction and what some things that perhaps they might do to improve in the future. And I believe these small things can be the difference between a physician who is culturally competent, a physician who learns from their mistakes and is able to not do these same mistakes in the future, and a physician who does not respect the patient's wishes, or does not even care about these their patient's wishes when it comes to having a culturally competent physician. With that in mind, just to quickly reiterate, it is a very difficult situation. It's not easy for a patient to open up and trust a physician, and it becomes worse if they're unable to build that trust between themselves and the physician. And in this situation, I will do my best to provide the patient and their family with a physician who they can trust, or a physician that I believe would be a better fit than I did. But I also want to learn from this situation. What can I do to improve in the future? And again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. And if you have any other follow-up questions, I would love to answer them.